All right, I'm going to give everybody like 30 seconds for the notification to go out on YouTube. Because it usually takes a few seconds for that notification to go out, and then we'll get into the show tonight. And actually, this is a late one. It's almost 2 a.m. Usually end them around this time, but hell, tonight I'm starting it around this time. Hell, so we'll see who the hell is up, at this time of the night. And it's funny because just as I complained about the other day, I was saying shit. It's all these people on the internet that are doing streams, right? People are streaming all day, any time of the day, but it's usually just about garbage, right? It's about trash. That's what these people on YouTube are, doing streams about. It's very rare you find something interesting to actually, listen to or actually join and have a discussion. You know, so so the best thing I found for tonight, right? I was looking around for maybe a half an hour to see what was on tonight. Hell, this dude Nephilim Free was on, but shit, I didn't want to go on there with him because that was going to be a headache. So then, I went on this other page. I believe the YouTube channel is called The Machine Lies or something like that. I know that dude. What's that? Dave Freak, which is a frequent, right? That's a frequent viewer on my page. But he is always over there. He's like a moderator on that page, at least in the comments. And I saw they were live, so I went up there, and there is this dummy over there calls himself the Math Pig. And this dude was very childish. It was hilarious. I believe this cat was in his I believe the cat was in his 60s or something like that. But this dude was hilarious. It's funny because the dude would sit there, he'll crack a joke about you, but then if you say, just like some type of insignificant joke against him, the dude's, froze like a pissy fit. It's like, damn, that's bizarre. And then the scum on the panel, sometimes there's a bunch of peons that call into these panels, right? So some of the cats in the panel, they are even sticking up for this dude. It's like, seriously, y'all knuckleheads are gonna defend this clown. It's bizarre to me. But again, just because somebody says that they're about truth, just because somebody says that they're about what's right, and that doesn't make that true, right? Don't believe everybody who claims that they're about the truth and about hell, about Christ in general. Because Christ said that there's going to be a lot of people who hell, he said there's going to be a lot of people who believe that are going to be false believers. He also said don't believe people who tell you that they know Christ. He's over here, he's over there. He says don't follow them. Right, and then it also says if someone comes to you teaching another Jesus that you haven't learned, don't believe them. Right, so there's people out here teaching a form of Christ that is against the Bible. And that's what these Christian churches are doing by a vast majority. They're all teaching a brainwashed and watered down version of Christ. Hell, you know what? That would be a good name for a stream, right? Christianity teach a watered down version of Jesus, and that's true, right? The Christian church, they teach that Christ is like some type of hippie figure, right? First of all, they say that he's a white man and that he has long flowing hair like a woman, and that he loves everybody and wouldn't hurt a fly, and all of that. Which for anybody who reads the Bible, we clearly know that's garbage. We clearly know that's not true. But the brainwashed people that go to these churches, they don't know any better. Which the truth is, man, the the most popular days of the year for church, right? Like what 2 days of the year are the most are the pews the most filled at the churches? Hell, yeah, I'll ask the audience that question. Somebody take a guess on that. I'll give you 5 seconds. Yeah, so the answer to that question is the two most popular days that people attend the church is one on Easter and then two on Christmas, right? Again, this is a fact. You can look this up, right? But those are the days that these churches are packed, right? Jam packed, filled with people. Hell, I've even seen, some churches get so full on these holidays that people literally can't go, right? People have to turn around and go back home or go to another church because the one they went to is packed, that, no seating left. I've seen it happen before. So here it is, all these people, in their day-to-day life, they don't really care about God and, about Christ, about his commandments or whatever. But of course, on Christmas or Easter, they got to go show up at church, right? And that's pathetic. So guess what? Most of those people there, those are not actually true believers on Christ. They're people just following traditions, right? It's a tradition to celebrate Christmas and celebrate Easter and to attend a church service on those days. That's a man's tradition, right? So it's like, how the hell are y'all gonna just go to church to learn about Christ for like 2 days out of the year, but all of the rest of the year, y'all are just gonna be wicked and live however you want. That's not that's not right, man. And a whole nother thing that's actually coming up very soon, because you got Halloween coming out in like what is it, like under a week now, right? Let's see. Yeah, it's only a couple days away now, Halloween. So these churches, what they do, at least where I'm at, is they have something called trunk or treat, which is like a mini Halloween celebration. They don't call it Halloween, they call it trunk or treat. But what they do is they, like the parking lot outside the church, they'll park their cars there, and then out of the trunk, they'll, decorate it and hand out candy to kids out of the back of the car. So for like Christian kids that don't celebrate Halloween, they get a chance to, dress up and go receive candy. And they do it a few days before Halloween. And there's even some churches that do it literally on Halloween. So they're literally celebrating Halloween. They just call it something different. you know, Again, it's bizarre. But that's what these churches are doing out here, man. In fact, I know there's a church up the street where I'm at who they advertise that. I believe they're doing theirs tomorrow night. So again, these churches out here, man, they're not really concerned about teaching people what's true. They're more concerned about, doing whatever, fills their pockets. That's what they're about. Eddie said, just stopping by to say, what's up, BTT? Yeah, that's cool, Eddie. Let me see. One thing I want to talk about, I seen recently that, what are these dudes? Tazariak of the ISUPK and this dude, God Logic. They're going to be doing a debate down in what was it, Harlem, right, or New York, something like that. And I believe it's like next week or the week after that. So that's going to be a good one. That's going to be a good one. And as far as I know, that's going to be like a real life event that you can go to, but of course you can watch it online as well. So that's going to be pretty interesting. As far as I'm aware, the two topics they were going to talk about, what was that? I know the one topic was about Gentile salvation, and what was the other topic? Oh, about is Jesus God? Those were the two topics, right? They're going to talk about is Jesus God and about can Gentiles be saved. Which, those are important topics. Yeah, those are always important topics to talk about. And, people typically, bring those subjects up when we do these, online discussions. But yeah, that's going to be pretty interesting. Here, bear with me for a second. You know, something else I just seen earlier this evening is this dude, Jack Smack 77. I call him Jackass, right? He's Jack the Ass. And, he's like one of these free grace cult leaders, basically, right? And he put up a video, well, I believe it was like a short 3-minute video, but it was about like the top 10 teachers on YouTube that you should mark and avoid at all cost. Then I was thinking to myself, it's like, watch, I'm gonna be the last guy on the list, right? Because I'm like the biggest threat to these free gracers on the internet. I'm always the guy coming at these dudes and hitting them hard with these precepts. And there's not a lot of dudes out there who can be as professional as I can. And I don't mean to flex or nothing like that. But the truth is just the truth, right? A lot of dudes out there, they don't come at free grace the way I do. So I watched a video, I was watching countdown, right, of the 10 people. I had some familiar faces on there. Of course, they had to talk smack about this dude, Jamie, right? Jamie Russell. Let's see, Veckel was on. Um, Shit, I know there's some other familiar faces on there, but I can't remember everybody's YouTube channel name off the top of the head. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, and of course, as I predicted, I was like the last guy on the list, which means that I'm like the biggest because it's like a countdown. Like if you ever watched a countdown on YouTube, right? They start sometimes they start from one and go up to 10, or 10 and go down to one, right? And the last one they show is like the most severe one, right? Or like the most hard hitting one. Or like if you watch a scary compilation on YouTube, the number one clip and or the last clip is always like the most scariest and uh believable paranormal clip or something like that. Right, just as an example. So when they showed this clip, I was like, watch, I'm gonna be like the last dude. And then I got it right. I was the last dude on the list. Right. So they showed all these other dudes to avoid. And then of course they show me at the end. Which again, I take that as a compliment. I take that as a compliment because, the Christ talked about how the people teaching the truth are gonna be hated by a lot of people. And that's what you see, right? Like, say for instance, you got all these Christians coming up against the One West, in Hebrew Israelite doctrine. These guys are popping up left and right. You got Ryan Apologetics, you got um this whole other dude out there. Oh, of course, Vocab Malone. That dude's like that's the top of the top right there. That dude, he's always literally going out, running up on camps, right? Shit, GMS at this point, they said, shit, if that dude just comes to your camp, just call the cops on that dude at this point, which I disagree with them on that. I think that's a childish way to view something like that. It's like, what are you going to do? If the vocab runs up on your camp, you're going to call the cops and just say, this guy ran up on your Bible camp because he wants to talk about the Bible? And you think they're really going to show up and take the guy away just because he wants to talk about the Bible? Like, again, I understand, vocab certainly can be annoying at times, but to sit there and fret something like that just over the scriptures, I mean, that's just childish. It's just, that's very pathetic. And again, you wouldn't see Muslims doing that. Not even the Jehovah Witnesses would do that. So y'all got to up your game, man. Oh, but another dude I was going to mention is this other cat name. I call him Locke, but his channel stands for Israelite Only Camp Killer. And his whole, the only reason his channel exists is to try to come at the Hebrew Israelites. Like literally, I kid you not, right? The dude will be there saying, "Oh, I'm a Christian believer in Christ," but literally the 1,000 videos on his channel or whatever, the hundreds of videos, literally 99% of the videos are just about Israelite camps and trying to expose one West Israelites. That's what it is. It's like, well, how the hell are y'all on here teaching about Christ if literally the only thing you guys talk about is the Hebrew Israelites? Like shit, you can't even find a breakdown of John 3:16 on that guy's channel. Yeah, like that is literally how obsessed this guy is with the Hebrew Israelites that you couldn't even find the John 3:16 breakdown on this guy's channel. It's very pathetic and bizarre. And it's funny because this dude originally he was going around complaining about, all Israelites won't talk to me. Like, back when he was a nobody, when he had like maybe 50 subscribers, dude was like, hey, Israelites won't talk to me. Why won't they talk to me or whatever? And then, me and Jay told him, hey, look, man, come on our stream. We'll have a discussion with you, topics of your choice. And then we did that. We did a 2.5 hour long conversation with him, which I thought it was very respectable from both sides, right? Which we clearly won the debate, but he was respectable. And I told the dude, it's like, hey, man, you can take it and upload it on your page so, your Christian audience can watch. And the dude won't do it. And then he still went around and was saying, oh, well, the Hebrew Israelites, they don't talk to me. It's like, excuse me, we gave you a chance to have a conversation, and we did do the conversation. Why won't you upload it? And I even to this very day, I ask him, it's like, Locke, why the hell don't you ever upload that discussion we did like 2 years ago? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't want to say the dude's a liar, but if you're going to go around and say the Israelites don't talk to you, and then we literally do talk to you, and you don't upload the discussion, it seems like, you're lying or there's something fishy going on there. You know what I'm saying? Hey, how you doing, Bible Defender? I see you in the chat. The brother said, oh man, Israelite only camp killer guy is totally bugged out. He believes you can eat pork, the laws are done away, and he goes hard for the virgin birth and Trinity doctrines. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, man. I've had a discussion with the dude at least once before. And he's definitely he's definitely not the brightest bulb in the box. No hell, no offense, but he's definitely not the brightest bulb in the box, or not the sharpest knife in the drawer, for lack of better terms. Oh man. You know what I find funny though? There was a dude the other day, which I don't want to disrespect the guy because he was actually respectable. Forget the cat's name though, but if he's watching, he knows who he is. And he actually came over to my channel from Nick's channel when I did that debate with Caden a couple days back about the polygamy. This dude watched and, he was agreeing with my standpoint. So then he came on my page, watched some of my stuff, and he put up a video. I mean, not a video, he put up a comment. And, he heard me say in the video, I was, making a joke about Buther. And then somebody put up a couple verses about Buther in the Bible. And, I made a statement and said, oh, this butter over here is going off. And the guy thought I was literally talking about like a stick of butter, that it's going off to eat butter, or, have butter on bread, or, something like that. And I was like, dude, seriously, if you listen to what I'm saying, I believe I even clarified it, that clearly I'm just joking about somebody, right? Over on my page, I instead of calling somebody a brother, I might call them a brother, because that's an inside joke on our channel over here that we've done for maybe 3 years now. That's one of the slogans we use. Yeah, which again, you can't fault the guy because he was, just new over here. So when he heard that, I just thought that was pretty funny. It's like, shit, the dude thought I was talking about literally it was a sin to like eat butter or something like that, because the dude heard me say, oh, well, this butter's going off. So I just found that hilarious. That was pretty funny in my opinion. But shit, it shows that people need to be paying, better attention to what's being talked about. And you'll be able to tell when somebody's being sarcastic or being serious. His brother said, the free grace guys have no commandments to keep or prophecy to worry about. So all they're teaching is simply slander and name calling and putting devil horns on people saying they're not saved. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that brother's comment basically sums these guys up in a nutshell. Like literally, if you go on Jackass's channel, literally 99% of his videos are coming against just anybody who even questions free grace. Like again, hell, you could be a Calvinist, you could be a Seventh-day Adventist, you could even be a Catholic and just have one disagreement with free grace, and you're automatically damned to hell forever, according to them. And the most ironic part is they'll turn around and say that we're like the most judgmental people around and so self righteous, but they're the ones who say it. They're absolutely saved. They can do whatever they want in Jesus. They know they're going to heaven when they die. They condemn other people to hell forever. But we, on the other hand, who say, hey, look, we don't know if we're of God's chosen or not. Hey, look, we keep God's law to the best of our commandments, right? We're not sinless, right? All of us have our flaws. Again, and be humble like that, but they'll twist it, right, in their perverted view of the Bible and pretend like we're like the ones doing we're the one that's all prideful and ignorant. Again, it's very bizarre to me, but you know, gullible and ignorant people will fall for garbage like that because that's what feels good, right? Doctrines like free grace, they feel good to the ear. Hell, in Bible terms, we could say it tickles the ear, right? Meaning what? That it's a soothing thing to hear, right? That's a positive thing that people want to continue to hear, right? People want to hear that they can do whatever they want as long as you can say a couple magic words and believe on the guy, and then you're saved forever. It's pretty bizarre, but again, that's what people want. Hell, especially in today's day and age when everybody's all lazy. There's people out here who can't even get off the couch and put a damn you know, uh, quick, ready to eat meal in the damn microwave, right? People are too lazy to do that nowadays, right? So shit, those same people, they want to hear that salvation is very easy, right? It's basically like a 1, 2, 3 step course, right? Say these couple words and like you can secure your salvation immediately. It's like it's so bizarre, but this is what people want to believe, right? People want to hear that's the popular doctrine. Then these dummies pretend like, oh well, having works to get to heaven, having works and faith. That's like the most popular doctrine. And I laugh to myself. It's like, well, who the hell out here wants to do works? But like, seriously, like, who the hell out here is going around and would choose to do works over just believing in a couple magic words to get them saved? Obviously, the average brain dead person on the street that you ask that question to, they're going to take the easy route and say, hey, look, as long as I believe in sweet Jesus, I'm saved forever. No, you're good, Martin Berto. You're not the dude I'm talking about. There's another cat. You probably don't even know who I'm talking about, man. There was another cat that watched the discussion who who got it mistaken. But yeah, that's not you, man. I think you might have been the dude who put the comments up though about like the other verses, but you weren't the guy I'm talking about. But yeah, it's very bizarre, man. It's like But again, the Bible talks about how, in the last times, you know, the truth would be evil spoken about and people would choose the heresies, right? And that's the time that we're in. People want to choose the heresies and throw to the side the actual truth. That's the time that we're in. Like I'll give you a great example, right? Like I referenced this on my yesterday's stream, but it's worth bringing up again. Like, I was having a discussion yesterday with a full preterist. And mentioned to him, it's like, hey, look, man, it's like, what you're doing is very dangerous. You're sitting here, literally saying that there's like never going to be any physical kingdom, right? Christ is never coming back, like physically. It's like what you're doing, that's a dangerous thing, man. Remember, the Bible says, Revelation 22, 18 and 19, anybody who takes away from the book, God's going to take their name out of the book of life. And anybody who adds to the book, God will add to them the plagues written in the book. That's what it says. Say, hey, look, you're walking a tight wire, for lack of better words, man, with the path that you're on. And that's not just one individual, man. There's hundreds of people, maybe thousands of people who believe in that full preterist doctrine. It's certainly worth constantly bringing up because it's a lot of people are gonna be led astray into believing that garbage, which, again, logically it makes no sense how somebody could be a quote unquote intelligent person or somebody who graduated from high school and college and still think to themselves, well, you know what? When the Bible talks about a physical kingdom, all of that's like metaphor, right? All of that is just metaphoric. That's like, again, they don't hold the stance that some of it's metaphoric. He literally told me that all of it is metaphoric. So me and someone else in the comments, we pointed out, well, what about in Revelation 21, where it literally describes the dimensions of the kingdom, like the measurement and length of it, and then it describes how it had 12 gates to enter in, and at the top of the gates it had 12 plaques that had the names of the apostles, right? Each gate had the name of one of the apostles, and each of the 12 gates, each gate had was set there for each individual tribe. Like, say for instance, Judah had their own gate. um let's see, um Issachar had their own gate, and so on and so forth, right? Every 12 tribe had their own gate that they could enter into the kingdom. So how the hell could it not be literal if it's going into such detail as to what John saw? And they have no good argument to that. All they can say is, well, it's not literal. It's like, hey, look, man, if that's what you want to believe, you go for it, but you know, um, you're heavenly mistaken. Pardon the pun. Right? He's not heavily mistaken. He's heavenly mistaken. Inside joke. This brother said, preterists may as well be defeatist. Yeah, and that's a great point, man. I mentioned before how, really the full preterists, like what hope do these people have? Like we're at totally two ends of the spectrum here. We're teaching people to repent of their sins, believe on Christ, because there's a kingdom coming very soon. And the way we get to it is by believing on Christ and following what he said, by keeping God's laws and his commandments the best that we can. But them, on the other hand, what they're telling people is, hey, look, you should just get comfortable how everything is right now because we're in eternity right now. Hell, this is the eternity. It's not getting any better than this. There's no Jesus coming back. There's no rapture coming. There is no great gifts coming. All of that was already past. So again, it's like these guys basically have no hope. But we're teaching hope. That's what we're teaching, right? We're teaching hope to our people that, if you believe in this and do what you're taught to do, then hey, there's hope at the end of the day. right? There's good news at the end of the day. In fact, the gospel means good news, right? That's what the word gospel means. The gospel means good news. So the gospel that we're teaching is good news to the people. But the doctrine of full preterism, they're basically, as the brother said, they should be called defeatist because they're feeding the people, right? They're feeding the people or teaching the people defeatism, basically saying, hey, look, just be comfortable how things are. It's all downhill from here, but we're already in the kingdom. So the Bible, you can still read it, but it's not really important anymore today because all of that's just a history book, right? Everything in there, it's just a history book that already all happened in the past. That's their standpoint. And again, it's so bizarre to me how somebody could believe such a thing in today's day and age. But again, stupid people are just going to be stupid people. No, and that's just what it is at the end of the day. Let me see. Bible Thunder said, Khan, they love wickedness in the world. They don't want to change and be better. Um, I think the brothers talk about Jonah there. Jonah should have told God he's for your grace and doesn't need works and not go save Nineveh. Oh, I should have read the whole comment there. Hell, I got stuck up on the word there, but I should have just read the rest of the comment. I would have seen it. But yeah, I hear what you're saying, man. Yeah, Jonah, he got punished because he didn't want to do what God told him to do, right? So hell, if the free grace was true, then God should have just said, okay. Hey, you're saved anyway, even if you don't do what I say. It's like, come on. This is just hilarious, these people. Oh, and also, by the way, the story of Jonah proves that it proves that God creates both the good and the evil because there's a verse in there where the Ninevites repented of their sins. It says that God then changed his mind of the evil that he was going to bring upon the city. So again, not to get back into that topic tonight, but you know people that claim that God isn't behind the good and the evil, those people are in a trick bag too. Just as I was talking earlier about these Christian churches, teaching a watered down version of Christ and about his character. Like, say for instance, if you ask these people, like, what about the day of the Lord? Like, what is he gonna look like when Christ returns for the second time? And most of them just picture it as being like some type of, great day where everybody's just gonna rejoice and, lollipops and rainbows and stuff like that. But the Bible depicts a dark day, right? The Bible depicts a dark day. In fact, I believe that's Amos. It talks about the day of the Lord shall be very dark, even no brightness in it at all. And again, the day of the Lord, you can read about that all throughout the Bible about the coming of that day. But regardless of where you read it, it's all depicting the same thing. It's going to be a day of darkness and gloominess. It says a day of darkness and gloominess, even thick clouds, right? So, you know, there's no way around it that the Bible clearly depicts the coming of Christ as being a dark day. And anybody that doesn't believe that, you just don't know the Bible. It's just that simple. I mean, again, it's like it's not something that needs to be deeply studied into because it's so basic to see this. That the people who say otherwise, they're just ignorant of the subject. Just that simple. Hell, like I'll give you one other example. Like if you read what was that, Second Peter 3:10 on down, it talks about the day of the Lord, and the heavens are going to vanish away like smoke, the elements are going to melt with fervent heat. Shit, that doesn't seem like, lollipops and rainbows to me. Brother said, any of y'all watched UFC today main event was crazy. Yeah, I haven't seen that, man. I haven't seen that. In my free time I might check that out and see what's going on there. But I haven't seen it, man. Shit, one thing I did see though today is I seen that ERB at the Grap battle. They uploaded that video I seen the teaser for yesterday about Donald Trump versus Kamala Harris. Man, that was a good one, man. I recommend checking that one out. Again, just look up ERB, capital letter, right? Capital letters ERB on YouTube, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Pretty good one. Shit, and then this other dude, what's this guy, Bizarre Bub? Which that dude just does like paranormal videos, but he does a very good job at it. He uploaded, what is it, 97th installment of the series. And I was saying to say, shit, it's always a good day when Bizarre Bub uploads a video, right? Because he only does one like, what is it, like one every month, right? Like every month he'll do one scary video. And, hell, you can do the math on how long it's been. If it's one video a month and we're basically just about at 100. So you can do the math on how long it is. But, he does pretty good videos over there. Recommend checking his channel out. Believe he got like 2 million subs. So shit, it's not like he needs a shout out. But do check him out though. His brother said check this out later. Yeah, I'll check it out later, man. I can't click on the link while I'm on here. But later I'll look into that. Bear with me a second. Yeah, that's an interesting verse right there. Matthew 12:41. That's interesting, man. Yeah, that's cool, man. I'll look into that. I'm not really much into, sports or stuff like that. But in my free time I'll check that out. The only, as far as I remember, the only sports event I've ever attended was which hell, some people wouldn't even consider this to be a sport, but I went to one of the WWE events at the Amway Center in what was it, in Orlando, Florida? Right. That's the big theater they got there, right? But they host like football tournaments there, baseball tournaments, whatever. It's like inside a building. You can look it up if you don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, that's really like one of the only events I've ever went to. And again, some people won't even consider wrestling a sport. Just depends on who you ask. But I said, yeah, I don't watch any sports on the UFC, boxing, because it's real martial arts. Yeah, I hear you, man. Let me see. Damn, I'm almost at 40 minutes already. Didn't think I've been rambling on that long. I'm just looking at something real quick. Just bear with me. One thing I want to mention. I was actually earlier this evening. I went to a local bookstore. What do they call them up here? Barnes and Noble. Yeah, Barnes and Nobles is what I believe the store's called. Hell, I miss in Florida we used to have Books a Million down there. Is that's what they would call the bookstores down there in Florida usually. But up here we have Books a Million, which they're very similar, just different different names. So I went to the Books a Million. Yeah, I'm now hell out. Now I got myself confused. I went to the Barnes and Nobles. Excuse me. So I went to the Barnes and Nobles, and I was looking for literally an hour throughout the entire store for some type of good book to get because I had a $30 gift card that somebody gave me maybe a year ago or so. So I was like, shit, I may as well spend this thing before it, expires soon. So I went there, was looking around. I looked at the Bible section, looked at looked at the history section, even looked at the prepping section, which literally took me 45 minutes just to find where the prepping books were. And I literally only found like 5 books in the prepping section. And of course nothing needed because, it's similar to the books I already have. But I just wanted to check, why I was there. And out of the whole store, I couldn't find a single book that I wanted to get. Or at least that I thought was worth the money. So I was like, shit, I'll just save the gift card for another day and come back, and look maybe next month or something. I thought it was funny because in the religious section that they had there, they literally put like all the religions together, right? Like the Christian books, they were mixed in with the Muslim books and the Hindu books. So you got to look through all of the whole section that's mixed with like 5 different religions in order to find the book that you want about the religion you want to study. Oh, and it was ironic because I also found when I was there, I found the exact book of Enoch that I bought a few weeks ago at a yard sale. I was like, oh shit, there's that book again. And I believe they wanted like maybe $12 for it at the Barnes and Noble. But hell, I got it for $1. So hell, I'm not complaining. But I just found it funny. I found the exact same book that I got a couple weeks ago there, but then literally couldn't find anything else that was decent. Yeah, that's good, man. It's always always good to relax and catch up on some sleep. I hear what you're saying. Yeah, it's always well needed. Hell, I've had times, man, quite recently within the last couple of months where, sometimes I only get 4 hours of sleep a night, 5 hours of sleep a night. And then there's been a couple times where I end up sleeping for 13 hours straight. But shit, the meme still remains true. Usually, it regardless of how long you sleep, you always wake up tired. That, at least in my opinion, that's how it usually turns out. Right? Regardless if you get 4 hours of sleep or 8 hours of sleep, you're still gonna wake up tired. And even if you go to bed early. It's like shit, it's so real that people are even making memes about it and putting it on the internet. Oh, you can look it up if you don't know what I'm talking about. Go to Google search images. One thing I want to talk about that I heard the other day, which just might be controversial, but it should be mentioned. I overheard something the other day, and there was this dude that, he has some charges brought against him for, stuff that he's doing on the internet, right? Like CP, stuff like that. Dude literally is getting 200 years. Let me say it again, 200 years in prison. Not gonna say where I got this story at, but I've seen this. I've seen this the other day, and I was like, "Oh shit!" This dude got. I believe they said it was 25 different accounts of like images that they found on this dude's computer of you know kids or whatever, right? So the dude's getting 200 years for that. It's like, oh shit. But again, it shows how childish, pardon the pun, but it shows how childish the judges are, though. Because again, regardless of what the man did, how is it justified to give him 200 years in prison if literally nobody's going to live past, like, what is it? The oldest person in the world is like 125 years old. So if the dude's already like in his 40s or 50s, what sense does it make to give the guy 200 years in prison? What the hell are you gonna do? Keep his damn skeleton locked up in there? I mean, seriously, is that what they're gonna do? Are they gonna keep this guy's skeleton locked up in his prison cell, like for the next, 75 years after the guy dies or something like that? I mean, shit. It makes no sense. And again, I'm not saying what the guy did was right or anything like that, but I'm just saying that it logically doesn't make sense on how this guy is gonna have to go to jail for 200 years. It's like shit. The dude's in his 50s or late 40s. The dude probably doesn't have much time left. You know, in all fairness, right? Dude probably only has like what 25, 30 years of life left at that age. So again, it just shows the judges they're not acting out of fairness; they're acting out of emotions and childish emotions. And I also think, if we're going to lock people up, for viewing imagery on the internet, by all fairness, what about people who go on gore websites and you can literally watch people get killed on the internet? Like literally, you can go on certain websites that are not even on the dark web and you can literally watch people get killed. So, by logic, shouldn't people who watch that be put in prison? If we're going to literally lock people up for decades for just looking at a image of a girl under an arbitrary number. And again, before people crucify me and hang me next to Jesus on the cross, just listen to what I'm saying for like 2 seconds, right? Before you metaphorically crucify me, right? I'm not sitting there saying that anybody should go do any illegal activity or anything like that. But all I'm saying is that we should be consistent with our claims. If you're going to lock a person away for looking at pictures, you should also lock somebody away for watching a video of somebody getting killed. Like, I don't see how that's not logical. But again, what I think the answer is that people are just acting emotional. They're not thinking logically and straight. They're actually acting just emotional. Just like Luke said in the chat, right? It's crazy. But when I heard that the other day, I was like, oh shit, 200 years, it just, and you know what? I would be willing to bet money that the judge was actually a black woman. Or as GMS would say, it was the nigga woman, right? I would guarantee money. I'm literally willing to put money on this bet that the person who judged him was a black woman. That's my guess. Because a black woman typically, is the most emotional and they're ran by emotions. They're not really ran by logic. Really, most women in general are, but especially the black woman. That's just typically what it is. Let me see. And you know what? Something else that should be talked about. I just find this to be very ironic and preposterous. Some of these X websites out here, right? They have a section on there called teens, and the people on there are 18 and 19. It's like, wait a second, though, hold on. All they consider to be adults, so why the hell is there a section which keep in mind is like very popular on all these websites, the teen section? It's like, well, wait, why the hell are 18 and 19 in the teen section if literally in every other aspect of day to day life they're considered to be adults? But magically, of course, on these X websites, they're now considered teens again. Like that is just so inconsistent. It's amazing to me, how, and then people, if I bring this fact up to people, they'll be like, well, why even question it? It's like, well, it should be questioned because it just logically doesn't make any sense to believe that. Again, it just shows the ignorance of the average person. Like, let me give you an example. Most states in America, you can legally lay with a 16-year-old in most states in the United States. Again, you can fact check this, before people talk shit, they can fact check what's being said. So here's the thing, right? So how is it then in some of these states, like let's just say for argument's sake, say in New Jersey, you can do that when you're 16. But if you do the act, that's okay. If you record the act, that's not okay. That's as childish and as foolish as saying, okay, well, it's moral to steal, but if you record yourself stealing, then it's now bad. Or it's just as foolish as saying that you can take somebody's life, but if you record it happening, then that's like wicked. Clearly, in none of these instances does that logically make sense. However, according to, US government, that's the way they view it, right? So you can do these actions when you're 16, but if you record it and put it on the internet, now that is like so detestable and wicked. That's just ridiculous. And then the other question I have, which is very good, these websites that have the section for teens, if they actually found out that like a literal teen, a person between 13 to 18, if they put something on there, that would immediately be taken down. But it's like, wait, but isn't that the teen section? So they're really only talking about 18 and 19, but by their logic, those are adults. So again, it shows that they're not being consistent with their claims, right? So when it comes to these, X websites, they can call 18 and 19, oh, those are teens, right? They're just attractive teens. It's like, but wait, but don't you guys consider them to be adults though? So why the hell are they now considered to be teens? And then if a teen was actually on there, that would be like the most evil and most detestable thing ever. That just logically makes absolutely no sense. But again, the Americans just believe that because they're gullible and stupid. They're not critical thinkers. So again, these things are worth speaking about, because it's important subjects that should be talked about. Hey, the Bible says, don't be ignorant of any matter, whether it be great or small. That's what the Bible says. Hell, same thing. I'll give you another example. Some guys might say, well, if we can't really get into multiple relationships today, because in the United States, it's illegal to marry multiple women at one time, right? Polygamy is illegal in the United States. So somebody might say, well, if it's illegal, well, why even bring it up? And the answer is, well, because it's part of the law. It's what God said. So sure, like say for instance, I'm not going to tell you to go out and get multiple wives. Does that mean the reason I say that is it because I'm opposed to the idea? Is it because I think it's sin? No, it's not because I think it's sin, but I understand due to certain circumstances it can be difficult. And then of course, illegally it might be, a bad idea because you could get in trouble, but that doesn't mean that God holds to that, right? So when we bring up things like polygamy, we're not saying that you have to go and get two or three wives, but if you did it according to the Bible, it would be lawful. Like I'll give you another example. This is a good one. Like the Bible says, when you do read the law, if you find out your woman's cheating behind your back, according to the Bible, she's supposed to get stoned. Obviously, a man can't go out and do that today because he'll be put on death row for murdering his wife, right? But in the Holy Bible, it says that that's the judgment. So again, I'm not going to lie on what the Bible says. It says what it says. Shit, I'll pull a Peregrine on you. It means what it says, right? It says what it says, and it means what it says, right? As that dumbass would say. But shit, he'd be right in this instance, right? Hey, it says what it says, right? The text says what it says. I'm not going to lie to you. As a teacher of God, I have to teach what the Holy Book says. If somebody got a problem with that, you can kick rocks. Shit, like me and Shrek used to joke about, like we saw one dude said, like, hey, look, I'm going to unsubscribe from, ETT and Shrek because there seems like there's, a lot of, trickery going on. And we told him, hey, look, man, you can unsubscribe, but hey, look, don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. Right? Hey, see ya. Hey, see ya and don't want to be ya, as the saying goes, right? So, hey, look, if you don't like what's being said, you don't got to watch. And that's just what it is. But guess what? The smart people and the people who want to learn, they'll stick around and listen. And that's just what it is. Let me see real quick. Yeah, I hope you're doing well, Luke. I see you in the comments down there. I'm just looking at something real quick. One other thing we can make fun of is I remember this guy Johanna, which is like the ISUPK leader. This dude said that he cooked that Corolla rooster. Got to use co-language here, but you know what I'm talking about. He took that for his own personal health and safety. When I heard that, I was laughing. It's like, what the hell? It's like, y'all teach that we're not supposed to trust what Esau does, like as the Apocrypha says. I believe that's Ecclesiasticus 12:10. It says, "Never trust your enemy, for as iron rusts, so does his wickedness." Right. So, and again, they teach that they accept Apocrypha. So here it is. Johanna, he took the rooster, right? He took these yabs for his own personal health and safety. It's like, wow, that's mind blowing to me. So again, when I quote some of these guys, like, what was it, the ISUPK, take them with a grain of salt. Some of the things they say are true, but then some of it is also not true. You got to take them with a grain of salt. And same thing with everybody on the internet. You shouldn't just believe something because somebody says it. You should take it with a grain of salt. And that's how a wise person, that's how an intelligent person would view, hearing information. You want to hear both sides of the argument, not just hear a one-sided, part of a discussion. You want to be fair and hear both sides so you can, address the matter completely. Let me see. Yeah, if anybody has any other question or comment, you're welcome to post it down below. We're approaching an hour here now. Man, that hour went quick. GTF said, but if the grain isn't salty, it gets thrown out. I don't get what you mean by that. Hell, I mean, some things are just obviously true that don't need to be taken with this. I'll give you one example. Say, for instance, we know that Christ is the Son of God. That's something we don't have to take with a grain of salt because we objectively know that's true from the Bible, right? So, Christ being the Son of God, that's not something to take with a grain of salt because we objectively know that's true. Too deep. Shit, I'm challenger deep, man, as the saying goes. Shit, some of these other cats on YouTube are kiddie pool deep. But when you come on my page, this is challenger deep. Shit, one of my other slogans I got is, "Hey, look, you know, like say for instance, Perry Green, right? He is one deep, but I am two deep, right? He is one deep, but I am too deep for his ass." Inside joke, too deep, right? Hey, look, Perry's one deep, but I'm too deep. Inside joke. Shit, the other day I overheard somebody mention Challenger Deep when they were talking about the Mariana Trench. And at first I was like, oh shit, these dudes talking about me. They mentioned in Challenger Deep because that's my slogan. So I was like, oh shit, they talking about me over there. And by the way, I'm the first person on the internet to take that slogan. Let me see. Bear with me for just a second. Let me just check let me check the backstage real quick. you know, oh man, I gotta mention this. I saw a post the other day on like the apps that you can like sell things, man. And somebody put up like a completely torn apart leather couch. Like those leather couches that like an animal can scratch up and it looks terrible. The dude literally put it on there and called it animal striped design and was selling it for hundreds of dollars. I was laughing at myself. Like who the hell is gonna fall, to take a ghetto couch and just call it animal stripes and trying to get a couple hundred for it. It's hilarious. He said, "What even is the Challenger? Wasn't that a rocket ship?" Um, well, there was a rocket disaster named the Challenger, right? That again, you can look this up. Um, but there was I believe it was the Challenger missions or something like that, and then it exploded and then killed everybody on board. But the Challenger Deep that I'm talking about is the deepest part of the Mariana Trench, right? The deepest part of the known ocean. And what I use it to represent is like, hey, look, I'm like, metaphorically speaking, I'm like as deep as it gets over here, as far as on YouTube land, right? Over on my page, this is as deep as it gets. You're not going to find a platform where people go deeper into the information, deeper into the Bible, deeper into just truth in general than you're going to find on my page. So that's what the slogan means. Even though there are multiple things called Challenger, but that's the meaning behind my slogan. to clarify. He said Jay thinks it's fake. Um, as far as Challenger missions, I think the ship clearly did blow up. However, I do understand that there is evidence that exists that the people did actually that they weren't on board. They were not on board the ship because there's evidence that these people actually are still alive today. In fact, again, there's a lot of information on this, so you'd have to contact me, and I could send you like the sources that I have on it. And there's been people who dug deep into this, and they actually found the exact people. They looked the exact name. Have most of them have the exact same name, just claim to be like the lost relative, brother or sister of the astronauts from the Challenger mission. Again, fascinating information. But yeah, I don't believe that they died on that mission. I believe they're still walking the earth today. But the ship did explode though, but there was no people on it. Yeah, you can contact my Gmail, which you should be able to find that if you go to my about section, you can find my Gmail there. Hit me up there and I can give you some sources on that. Yeah, Jay recently got his channel terminated. What's this guy? Pine Creek. I call that guy Pine Creep, right? Pine Creep, just as an inside joke. He striked a couple of videos that Jay re-uploaded from him. But the funny part about it is Pine Creek didn't even own the rights to the video because he took it from a news organization. So it's like, so how the hell can Pine Creek strike Jay's videos if it's not even his content because Pine Creek took the videos from a news website and just uploaded clips. So he doesn't even own the footage. It's not his. So again, that doesn't make sense. That's not fair. But of course, YouTube's going to be biased because again, the nature of the things we talk about. Like for hypothetical, right? If Jay was, doing like gaming videos or something and that's all, then they might have had mercy on him and just removed the strikes. But since we're talking about truth related, content and stuff like that, of course they're going to be biased and you know, pretend like it did violate the guidelines, which it clearly did not. Let me see. GTS. I went to elementary school named after one of those astronaut women who died. Our mascot was named the Challengers. I mean, hey, look, they could do a memorial for these people or even name something after them, but that doesn't mean the person actually died in reality. Now, in the people's mind, they did, but that doesn't actually mean they did in real life. So again, I would just say that it's something that you can look into in your free time. But again, I have seen information that would suggest that these people are still walking the earth today. And again, I don't think it's not like, say, for hypothetical example, if somebody believes otherwise, I don't think it's a big deal. Like, it's not a game changer to me, right? If somebody believes that the Challenger mission, the Challenger disaster, if that really happened and the people lost their lives, I mean, again, you can believe that. If that's what floats your boat, you go for that. Hell, it doesn't take away my sleep at night. But if we look into the information, there definitely seems to be something that's not being talked about by the people in control, right? It seems like they're hiding something from it, right? That they're not explaining all the information to the public about what actually happened. And again, that's my opinion on it from the information I've seen, but I don't certainly don't think it's like something to lose sleep over if somebody views differently. You get what I'm saying? I mean, I hear what you're saying, but it sounds like you believe it based on the tone of your comments, man. If you feel what I'm saying. Shit, like say for instance, like I'll give you another example. Like somebody will tell you they full heartedly believe that we have a Curiosity rover on Mars right now, taking samples of the soil and collecting rocks or whatever, right? And then, supposedly sends back these pictures for us, which clearly are not from Mars. But again, if somebody wants to believe that, hey, that they can believe that if they choose to. Of course, I would say that that's not true based on the information I've seen. But again, if somebody does want to believe it, it doesn't take away my sleep at night. Yo, we got 10 people tuning in live right now. Again, if somebody has a question or comment, you are welcome to post on now. But but yeah, hey, here is your chance. Oh, Jamie Russell's live right now too. Yeah, Jamie Russell's cool. Same thing with Jay Gee. But all these guys have their flaws. But even though there's certain things we might disagree on, we all can still respectfully, get along and have a conversation. Like say for instance, there's no reason to, act like a woman, right? There's no reason to act like an emotional woman, otherwise known as Perry Green, when we have conversations, right? It's always good to keep things respectable back and forth. That's how we have a proper conversation, even about topics of disagreement. And you're able to do that with some of those characters I mentioned. But, with people like Perry Green, it's seems to be nearly impossible to do. Let me see real quick. But yeah, man, it's a lot of shit going on right now. So all I can tell people is, you gotta continue to keep watching as things happening in the world, man. Hey, we're not supposed to be slothful, right? Hey, Christ talked about how, if he finds you to be lukewarm, he's gonna spew you out of his mouth. Basically what it meant is like he's gonna reject you. That's what he meant. No, you either gotta be he would rather you to be hot or cold. Hot meaning that you're doing everything that a true believer would do, and being cold means that you just say you believe and then nothing else in your life reflects the fact that you claim, to keep the lifestyle of a Christian. So Christ said, well, I would rather you to be either hot or cold instead of being lukewarm, which is basically in the middle. They claim to be a Christian, but they, don't really do a whole lot. And you know what's most ironic? That's actually the free gracers. The free gracers are like considered to be the lukewarm people, right? They're a little bit above the cold, because the cold are just people who go to church and just, every other day of the week they sin and that's it. But a lot of free gracers, even though they live like Catholics and, just do whatever the hell they want, at least they'll try to defend their belief on the internet, against people of opposing beliefs. So hell, those are the lukewarm guys, right? They'll actually try to defend what they believe, but, they live in sin and just live wickedly and, all that garbage. So, ironically enough, the free gracers are the lukewarm that Christ is talking about there, or at least a faction of the lukewarm. Let me see. It's funny. I got on YouTube. I have on this new channel I made like maybe like 8 months ago, something like that. Because what was the channel I had before? I believe it was Andrew or something like that. Was like one of my stock channels I had, like one of the side channels. But that one got terminated for something. But then I made this Roberts channel, and I literally already have in the watch later list. I have like 3,800 videos that are in there. It's like, oh shit. It's like, how the hell am I gonna get through that? Because for y'all who don't know, the cap on watch later is 5,000 videos, right? So if you hit 5,000, you cannot add any more to it until you start watching them and getting rid of the ones you watch. Right? A lot of people didn't know that it had a cap, but just so you know, it's 5,000. But shit, most people are never gonna hit 5,000 because most people only have like maybe 300 videos in their watch later compared to me and some people who have, a few thousand. It's like shit, I checked the statistic like for how much hours a day I use like certain apps, and it was telling me over the course of a week I use YouTube for 77 hours. It's like shit, 77 hours. That's almost like, full time, at a job or something. But even with 77 hours on YouTube, it's still not enough to even cover like 1% out of my watch later list, believe that or not. Now, here's a fun fact for you. There are like 5 billion videos on YouTube. You can fact check that, look that up. There are 5 billion plus videos that exist on YouTube. And every single minute of the day, there are 300 hours of content that is uploaded to YouTube. Right? So in the last minute, that was 300 hours. Then in the next minute, that another 300 hours of content uploaded. So again, you quite literally, can't keep up with the amount of shit that's coming out. It's incomprehensible the amount of information, and that's just or X as they call it now, right? Or Meta, or which used to be Facebook, which I don't know who the hell would change Facebook's name. Like that is a worldwide known. So whoever the dumbass was who thought about changing Facebook's name to Meta, that was a very poor business move because Facebook and the image of it is known worldwide. It's worldwide famous. But the image of Meta, you got basically got to start all over because when people see it, they don't know what that is. Same thing with Twitter. Why the hell would y'all change Twitter's name to X? It's like everybody knows what Twitter is. That's worldwide famous. But changing it to X, it's like nobody's really gonna know what that is, if they're just seeing it for, the first couple of times. But if you had it as Twitter, everybody would know what it was. So again, poor business move on their end. Hey, how you doing, Sacramento Truth Movement? Hope you're doing well, Jay. Brother said, so I probably won't be getting my channel back. They denied all my appeals and now won't change it, accept anything. I asked Reddit sites and they said I'm in the wrong. Yeah, man. I think you tried, a lot of different points to try to get it back, man. So hell, I don't know, man. Still up in the air on that. And I mentioned this a couple minutes ago. And I don't think you watched that part I mentioned, but was saying, YouTubes are being unfair. Like, say for instance, if what's the word I'm looking for? Like, say for instance, if you were like a gamer and this happened, they would probably give a different response. But since we're talking about the religion and conspiracies and stuff like that, stuff that they don't like, of course they're going to be biased, towards us. But the good news though, man, is a lot of the dedicated followers that you had, they're subscribed to your like two backup pages that you had. Right? So a lot of the guys who are sincere about following your content, they would have subscribed to your backup page, at least one of them. So at least some of the dedicated guys were able to subscribe. And that's again, this is from my experience, because I've lost literally 5 or 6 channels over 8 years, right? So again, it's not to me, it's nothing new. I've always lost channels. The one I have now, I've had this one. I want to say, well, technically, I've had it since 2016, but I've only been using it since 2018 because I used to do a different type of content on this channel, and this was my backup channel. But then I took it over as the main one when I lost the main one in 2018, right? So technically, I've had this since 2016, but I've only been using it since 2018 because I lost the other channel. But it's it shows the importance of having a backup channel or two. So, you can tell people to head over there in case, one day they come on and they can't find your channel anymore. They'll know what happened and they can, still keep up with you on the second page. First, they're probably going to have to go and individually uh, send emails to the subscribers I can get a hold of. Yeah, I hear you, man. He said, I emailed and had some friends mail a pine creep. I commented with his channel. He banned the comments in the account. They also now have his phone number. I called him, went to voicemail, but not him. Well, yeah, we'll keep trying to call that dude, man. Maybe hell, at some point he'll pick up. He'll pick up the phone and talk. Because again, he's clearly in the wrong. I mean, how the hell can he strike the video you re-uploaded from him if he literally doesn't own the content because he took it from a third party? He took it from a news source, so he doesn't own the damn footage. So he again, that doesn't make sense how he could strike you for that. That's just that again, it just doesn't make sense. But again, YouTube's going to be biased just because of the information that we talk about. GTF said, when someone isn't in Christ, they are already in agreement with demons, but God allows them to attack you. Yeah, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. Jay said he took a clip from the Joe Rogan podcast with Trump earlier. Oh, did he? Right. So that's a good example, right? If you were to re upload his clip, he can't strike you for that because he doesn't own the clip. He took it. Now, say for instance, I'll tell you something that could be justified. If Joe Rogan decided to come over and strike Pine Creeps a video, that would be justified because Joe owns the footage. So he's the rightful owner. But say for instance, if you re-uploaded a clip, Pine Creek couldn't strike you for that because he doesn't own the footage. So again, YouTube is just on purpose being distasteful just because they're being biased. Okay. So I'm gonna go for a couple more minutes and then we'll round out the show at about an hour and a half. Yeah, that's a reasonable amount of time to go for. Hell, and remember, I'm on the free version, right? So I gotta watch my 20 hours. Shit, some of these dudes on YouTube are lucky, man. Like I literally see dudes that are streaming 24/7, right? They'll stream for 11 hours, then they'll end it, and then they'll restart one again, and they'll even bring like a side host on to keep the show going. It's like shit. How the hell do y'all keep a conversation going for literally 24 hours a day? 7 days a week. It's like shit. The party never stops for some of these channels. Shit, like I'll give you a good example. Like this one, believe it's called the People's Podcast. You can look them up on YouTube. I'd be willing to bet money that they're live right now as I speak. Uh, Not tonight. It's not. But I certainly am going to be doing one very soon that I will be bringing people on for discussion. But it's getting late for me over here. Um, it's almost 3:30 a.m. here. So hell, I gotta get to bed. Yeah, when I first came out here, it was damn cold. But now that I've been out here for 3 hours, well, technically 3 hours because I went on a different stream before this one for an hour and then I went somewhere else for half an hour. So yeah, 3 hours or so. So hell, I'm really not even cold anymore out here. I guess the body got used to it. Brother said he drank one and a half a Bang energy drink, so I'm awake, kind of. Yeah, I hear you, man. Shit, I've been oh, he asked, are you outside? I'm in a vehicle. Shit, that's the other thing about me. Again, I don't have the luxury to be able to, sit in a, air conditioned or, heated room to do my streams, based on my circumstances. Because again, I live in a Rio, Brazil style favela, right? Look that up on Google imagery if you don't know what that is, right? A Rio, Brazil style favela, hood style favela. Like literally, the size of the place I'm staying with people is literally the size of like a king bedroom. And that fits a bathroom, a closet, a living room, kitchen, and a small bedroom. And again, if you put it all together, it's the size of like a king bedroom. I kid you not, I'm being dead serious here. So again, I do what I can with my circumstances. You know what I'm saying? So like say for instance, some people ask me, well, why can't you just join any random time? Or Perry will be like, oh well, why can't he join right now? Like, why does he got to put it off? It's like, dude, it's not that I want to have to do that, but it's due to certain circumstances. I'm not just able to randomly go live at like any moment of the day, like you're able to do, due to the, tough circumstances I find myself in. That's pretty bizarre. I'm looking across the street and I've been sitting here and I was looking at a rooftop across the street for the last hour or so. And I was looking at the moon and there appears to be like some type of dark shadow above that house. So I'm not going to show it because I might take a picture of it after, but I'm not going to put the camera on because I don't have that set up right now. Like would have to go into the camera settings if you know what I'm saying. But that looks pretty bizarre over there. It's like shit, that wasn't out here when when I was just looking over there. That's pretty weird. Shit, maybe it's like a damn demon or something. Or most likely just a bush I didn't realize, like maybe the back part of a tree or something. I'd have to look when I get out. But that's a little bizarre over there. GTS said I used to do the same thing for streams, but I lost my car because it broke. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, man. But hey, Christ said, what is that? What John 16:33? In me you'll have peace, but in the world you have tribulations. So hey, that's some of the shit that you got to go through, man. Again, there's people out here who don't know how good they got it, man. A lot of people, like some of these people you see in these neighborhoods, got 2 3-story homes, two cars in a driveway, 100K in the bank. Hey, they're living large. Meanwhile, us over here are trying, struggling with $20 a week. A car that desperately needs 4 new tires and oil change, and and everything else, wrong with it, right? Literally, I'll give you an example. I got one of the vehicles that we got to use. Literally, the window came out like inside the frame, right? So we have to take literally damn duct tape and try to hold the window back up in the frame. Like I'm not even being sarcastic. So again, man, hey man, the struggle is real out here, as the saying goes, man. So again, some of these people don't know how good they got it, man, because there's some of us we'd be willing to switch places with some of these people. Yeah, you better believe that. So again, hey, some people, don't know how good they got it. Because there's people out here that hell, hey, we'd be willing to switch with you. Hell, I'd be willing to switch with you. But hey, that's just what it is, man. Said Pine Creek is married to a black woman and has kids. Shit, I didn't know that, man. I believe you sent me the picture of that yesterday, though. I did see that. Let me see real quick. All right. Just let me know, y'all in the audience, if you can still hear my voice. I dropped out for just a second there. Hmm. All right. They said you could hear it. Okay, good. GF said I kind of like having no car because it forces me to to exercise, and it's therapeutic, taking the scenery. Yeah, I hear you, man. You know, it's definitely difficult to get around without a car, man. But I hear what you're saying. Like hell, I know people they have to take a bike to work because they don't got no vehicle. Let's see. Oh, you live in the city though. Yeah, yeah, I hear you. Makes it a little bit easier for you, man, compared to some of us who Well, hell, I'm not in the country, but I know people in the country. But yeah, living in a city, it's definitely easier to get around. So let me see. All right, so I think I'm gonna call that the stream there. We're at an hour and 37 minutes. That should be good for tonight. If anybody made it to the end of the stream, put hashtag good. Right, we'll give Jay a little shout out since he came in late. So hashtag good. Oh, GTS said he has a question. All right, hurry up, man. If you got a question, I'll quickly take it, but then I gotta end it after that. Hey, go ahead and shoot your shot, as they'd say. I'll wait for you. Let me see. They said I have no car. Take the light trail or walk. Yeah, I've seen you on some of those like bike things. What are they? Electric scooters or something like that? You were using? Oh, GTS said, "What do you think Revelation means by the sea will dry up?" Well, it depends on what one are you talking about. You talking about Revelation 16 when it talks about Euphrates drying up, or are you talking about that it talks when it mentions the new earth about there would be no more sea? So you'd have to clarify in what context you're referring to. If you're talking about Revelation 16 with Euphrates drying up, the way I'd answer it, I would tell you that it's talking about, like, say for instance, even right now today Euphrates is drying up, and some the dams in the region, might be cutting off water, and then it might just be to evaporation. So even if it's man-made or if God divinely evaporates the water, it will still fulfill it. So as far as what the Bible says, it doesn't explain to us the exact cause. It just says that the Euphrates will dry up. So GTF said, um, no, the later, the new earthly. Okay. Yeah, so when the Bible says that he saw that there were no more sea, it's actually talking about the masses of people, because when you read Revelation chapter 17, I believe it's verse 5, and then you go down to 15. It said, I saw, the whore who sat upon many waters. And then if you jump down to verse 15, it says, the water that you saw where the horse are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. So, in the context, water can represent masses of people. So, when the Bible talks about the sea, that there were no more sea, I tell you that it's just talking about there were no more billions of people on the earth, because masses of people can be considered as water, based on the example I gave. So it's not talking about like in the new heaven and new earth, there's literally not going to be an ocean anymore. That's just a misunderstanding of what the text is saying. Like, say, for instance, if that was true, then that means that God's going to kill like 90% of the life forms that he created, because, like, what, 80%, 90% of life on earth is in the ocean, because the earth is like 75% water, right? So yeah, it's not talking about the literal ocean being dried up. It's just talking about the masses of people, because masses of people are referred to as water. He said, I've been thinking, what if it's talking about the Mediterranean Sea and not all the oceans? Um, well, in the context, again, it's not talking about any of the oceans in general, getting into the breakdown of it. But, yeah, I don't see where you'd get just a Mediterranean. For hypothetical, if it is talking about the physical water, I don't see where it would just be the Mediterranean. Yeah, I mean, there's certainly on Earth, land masses that have big bodies of water that can be dried up. Just like the Euphrates, right? That was a big body of water. Even if I'm not mistaken, doesn't even Genesis mention the river Euphrates? Right, so it's been around for thousands of years. Even in Genesis, it talks about Euphrates, but then the Bible says it's going to get dried up, and we're starting to see that happening. Right, again, you can look into the current news and see the river, being dried up. So anyway, I think I'm going to call that the stream there. I thank everybody for stopping by, and shalom.